I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for choosing to spend your evening with us to learn more about the Activate Fund Earned Revenue Accelerator. My name is Lauren Boone, and I'm the Activate Fund Program Manager. I want to pause. We have some other COACT folks on the call to just have them give their name and their title. We also have Jingris, who is a collaborator on this accelerator. If Jason could also share out his name.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alandra Bolger. I serve as the Executive Director for COACT Detroit.
Hi, everyone. Kyla Carlson. I'm the Director of Programs with COACT.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charnay Sanders, and I work as the Program Coordinator for COACT.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jacqueline Loudon. I'm the Community Ambassador at COACT.
Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Dandridge, and I'm also a Community Ambassador at COACT.
And then Jason.
Yeah, thanks so much. As mentioned, my name is Jason Kaya, and I'm with Gingrass Global, and very excited to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, team. So we're all really pleased to be sharing more information about the Earned Revenue Accelerator with you all and to answer any questions that you might have about the accelerator. Just to go over the agenda for tonight, there'll be an introduction to COACT Detroit, as well as the Activate Fund opportunity. We'll then go into the overview of the Earned Revenue Accelerator, discuss eligibility and process of the accelerator, how to apply, and then move into the question and answer portion of the evening. So I will turn it over to Alandra Bolger for the intro.
Thank you, Lauren. And before I give the overview of COACT Detroit and the Activate Fund and kind of the thinking behind the Activate Fund and also the Earned Revenue Accelerator, I just want to publicly acknowledge the COACT Detroit team who has worked so diligently over the last year to, conceptualize these programs. But in particular, as we have, like many of your organizations, had to navigate the COVID-19 crisis, have been really imaginative and adaptable in ensuring that we can still bring programs and resources to the nonprofit community. So just want to publicly acknowledge the folks who are on this webinar, as well as our staff who couldn't be here tonight. So COACT Detroit is essentially a hub that is really designed to accelerate transformational impact with the nonprofit and community organizations in Southeast Michigan. We do that a number of different ways. The first is through our amazing space that we're no longer able to access in this moment, but based on some of the pictures and the names, I know many of you have had the opportunity to engage in our space, and we'll have some announcements about how we're rethinking and reconfiguring the space in the coming months. We also do that by really lifting up what works, both from a local and national perspective. So really focusing on connecting the dots around best practices and then sharing those, really kind of putting those ideas out into the ecosystem. And then lastly, we are really focused on understanding the gaps that exist in the nonprofit community in our region and understanding where we can have a value add and really kind of provide unique programming such as the Earned Revenue Accelerator that can fill those gaps. Some of the programming that we've done and do, I mentioned the space, which has been historically a space where we bring folks together for idea generation, to learn across a number of capacity building topics such as board development. We've done a number of community building activities, and we now see the virtual space as a collaborative space as well for us to continue those actions. We also have hosted a number of conversations, which we continue to do. We'll be announcing some of our upcoming conversations soon, particularly around corporate responsibility. And then a big part of our work, and really what the Activate Fund is about, is connecting our network, our ecosystem. And so we recognize that many organizations such as yours are doing amazing work in our community, vital work that's really needed, but it's often very disjointed. And there are often barriers, systemic and otherwise, that exist to nonprofits and nonprofit leaders being able to connect to those resources. And so we see the Activate Fund is an opportunity to pilot some of the ideas around connecting those resources, but also to imagine on a smaller scale what a more connected and resilient ecosystem could look like. And so Monday, applications open for the Earned Revenue Accelerator, and we're so excited. This is a program that we've been working on for about a year. And really, this is the fourth program that exists inside the container of the Activate Fund. And so why do we need the Activate Fund? I believe many of you may be familiar with the Building a Network report that was completed by our partners at Michigan Community Resources, the Michigan Nonprofit Association, New out in Ann Arbor, and then the University of Michigan School of Social Work. And really, those partners took an in-depth look and did some detailed research, but also local stakeholder engagement to really imagine what a refined capacity building approach could look like. One that not only built the mission, the capacity for organizations to fulfill their missions, but also helps to ensure that organizations have the things that they need to really impact social change, and with the focus and lens on social and racial justice. And so the Building a Network report really serves as the inspiration for the Activate Fund. The Activate Fund was seeded through initial investment by the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, so a $1.5 billion investment in nonprofits in our region. And we've divided the fund into two components. The first is $1 million to support our nonprofit fundamentals grant program, which we launched back in March of this year, and currently have 25 grantees who are going through that process of bringing their projects online and working with consultants from a provider pool that we've recruited. And then another $500,000 to support pilot projects such as the Earned Revenue Accelerator. So the four programs, the Nonprofit Fundamentals programs was a grant program where we provided up to $50,000 to nonprofit organizations across Southeast Michigan to implement a capacity building project in their organization. Could be anything from anti-racism and racial equity training for their boards to adopting a new technology to respond to working remotely. We also have worked through the collaboration pilot. So we are providing in-kind awards to 7 collaboratives that are working on everything from food justice and insecurity to housing affordability. And those 7 organizations are currently working through their projects as well. And what we did there was we polled a number of collaboratives to understand what their needs were to help move their work forward. And through that program, I provided things such as facilitators, videographers, photographers to kind of help move their work forward, but also document the process so that, again, that information and those lessons learned can be shared with the broader community. And in our service provider network, we recruited a little over 200 folks, I think, applicants for a service provider pool to be responsive to the grant needs of our grantees and our collaboratives. And that pool is also serving the grantees, but it's also, again, a pilot and a microcosm of a much bigger thing that we want to build in the future, where nonprofits are able to get connected to right fit services without kind of having to search in the dark for it. And then lastly, the fourth program of the Activate Fund is the Earned Revenue Accelerator, which I'm going to pivot to Kyla and let her share all of the wonderful information around the Earned Revenue Accelerator. But what I will say before I do that is that as nonprofits during this challenge and even before seek ways to become more sustainable, we found that through our previous programming around earned revenue, and financial modeling, that this was a really big desire for folks to learn about. And so we added this to the program to try to expand on some previous workshops and learning opportunities that we provided.
Great, thanks, Alandra. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. So what exactly is the Accelerator? It's a 3-month intensive learning cohort program. It's designed to help nonprofits that are operating in Wayne County diversify their funding, and doing so by growing an existing revenue producing product or service. And we'll select up to 6 organizations to participate in this intensive learning cohort. And so as Alandra started to mention, why an accelerator? Like everything that we do at COACT, the program development was informed by both our partners and all of you, all of the nonprofits and community that we serve. We piloted a workshop back in the fall of 2019 around this topic, and we received overwhelming interest and feedback. We even brought those folks back together not too long ago in 2020 to help continue to inform the development of what a phase 2 of support around this topic could look like. We also know through ongoing engagement and surveys and focus groups that the top need we hear nonprofits express is support with funding and resources. We formed an advisory group of intermediary capacity building partners back in 2019 to help inform the development of the Activate Fund. And so there have been partners informing every component of this. And we also did some research to look at other programs, other accelerators to help inform this program, both regionally as well as across the country. And so the accelerator is a learning cohort. It'll be between 4 and 6 organizations. The cohort will run between March and June, and it'll be 3 hours each week, rotating 1 week of a class and then the following week of one-on-ones with that class facilitator or expert speaker. And so this is what that curriculum looks like. We'll cover all of these topics: business planning, cash flow management, financing and tax considerations for how a nonprofit can have an earned revenue stream and what's allowed, stakeholder buy-in and board engagement. We know that many organizations might be doing this, but oftentimes it might come about and is kind of thought of as an afterthought. It's not always staffed appropriately for really being its own program. Marketing, branding, e-commerce, we know that those are also top needs we've heard. Storytelling and pitch development, getting a pitch deck and practicing that delivery. And then navigating and pivoting operations, everybody's favorite word. So this will be really weaved throughout the curriculum. Really, all of these classes will be in the context of the current environment that we're operating in. And so again, the cohort will have classes and then one-on-ones with each of these facilitators, and that will rotate every other week to actually allow folks time to complete the deliverables and work from each class. And so what is the award exactly? So at the end of this cohort, the end of this 3 months, you can expect to graduate with a written business plan and sound cash flow projections, identified impact measurement criteria and metrics, a pitch deck and being pitch ready, also branding and design materials, and that may look different for each awardee based on what you have or don't have already. And then all participants will have the opportunity to showcase the idea or project. This could look like a series of video clips that COACT helps market and produce. It could be, compiling a small group to help you pitch your ideas to a group of partners. We'll talk more about that when the awardees are selected and help shape that with you. And then some participants may receive a cash award at the end of the program to continue advancing their idea. So what's expected of you if you are selected? It is expected that all organizations attend the 12 virtual classes and office hours live. So 3 hours once a week for that 12 weeks. We recommend that you assign 2 leadership staff per organization to attend the classes. We know that there's so much going on in the world right now, and we are not on the other side of COVID, and so there are things that may come up that are unexpected. And so, this will help alleviate if someone does, get pulled away or have something come up. You'll still be able to have representation from your organization. Again, this is an intensive learning cohort, so even though we've stretched it out to the 12 weeks with the one-on-one option and some time to complete the work, missing a class would, significantly impact your ability to stay caught up with all of the sessions. So that's why we recommend assigning 2 people. And we also know that, folks receive information in different ways. And so it can also be helpful to have 2 people on behalf of your organization. Everyone, again, will be expected to participate in some kind of final project or pitch event, and we will co-create that with those who are selected for the program. And then we would like you to submit, the final business plan and cash flow projections and materials, branding materials that you'll receive through this cohort to us at the end of the program. So who is eligible to apply? Like other programs of the Activate Fund, if you've been involved, which I recognize some of you on here have, you must be a registered 501c3 in good standing with the IRS. You must serve at least one community within Wayne County. So you could be serving multiple counties or, even outside of Michigan, but as long as you serve a community population within Wayne County. You also have to already have one minimum viable product or service identified. You must be selling that product or service for revenue, so not providing it on a donation basis, and you must have at least 6 months of commercial sales history. That sales history doesn't have to be the most recent 6 months. It doesn't even have to be from 2020. We recognize that a lot of things may have impacted your ability to provide this product or service. So it can really be from any time, but you do have to have some history of selling. And these criteria were identified really based on the curriculum that we have, and so it's identified if you've reached these pieces, then you'll really get the most out of the program in terms of taking your earned revenue product or stream to the next level. So who is ineligible? Individuals, if you're not a 501c3, if you require a fiscal sponsor, if organizations who discriminate, for-profit organizations, and then churches or universities. So if your sole purpose is to provide academic courses, or if you're a church that only serves one religious group, that would also be ineligible. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Lauren to take us through the rest of the selection process and details.
Thanks, Kyla. So once you're actually in the application itself, you'll see questions that get to these points on the screen. And these are the selection criteria. So we'll be looking to see that your answers show that your product is viable and that there's demand for the product or service. We'll be looking to see, based on your answers, that participation in the accelerator will help your organization's ability to implement or grow a viable earned revenue stream. We'll be looking to see that you actually have the capacity to participate. It is a very intensive, short experience, so we want to make sure that you're able to attend all of it and get the most out of it. We'll want to make sure that you are in alignment with COAC's values. So some of those include collaboration, diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. And you can get a full kind of look at that by looking at the application appendix that's on our website. And then, of course, we want to have a diverse grantee cohort. So we will be taking into consideration the budget size of your organizations, the market sector, your product service, the beneficiaries that are served, and then the diversity of your organization's demographics. And so the timeline, as has been said, the applications open January 11th. We were very excited. They close the 29th of January at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So then from February through March, we'll be looking through the applications and selecting the participants for the accelerator and notifying folks by March. And then, of course, the accelerator starts March through June. So there's the cohort, the 1 week with the 3-hour session, then the next week of the office hours for 6 weeks, and then there's a graduation ceremony in June. And so this all sounds good, but how do you apply? Step 1 is to submit the application. So again, they opened on January 11th. It begins with some preliminary questions that kind of go over what Kyla mentioned earlier. So just making sure that you serve at least one community in Wayne County, the minimum viable product, and those other 2 points that were listed previously. If you meet all that criteria, then you get to the full application, which is on Submittable. The application is coactdetroit.submittable.com, and you go into that link, answer all the questions, and submit it again by January 29th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the second step is just we review all of those applications and make the final selections. So this is a screen grab of our website, so it can show you where you would go to apply. So if you go to coactdetroit.org/activate-fund, if you scroll down a little bit, it'll say Earned Revenue Accelerator Pilot. You would click on How Do I Apply, which is circled with the blue circle. And then right under it is a blue button that says Apply Here. And then in addition to this, we have some other resources to help you and support you as you think about if this is a good kind of fit for what you are trying to do with your earned revenue stream. So there's this info session that is being recorded. It'll be posted on our website by the end of this week, beginning of next week latest. There'll be virtual office hours, which we will be holding. Those will also be put on the website. We're still trying to determine times, but those will be up by the end of this week, beginning of next week latest. You can always email activatefundinfo@coactdetroit.org with any questions that you might have, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Again, you can also call 313-789-1386 with any questions that you might have, and someone will get back to you. And then, of course, you can always just kind of poke around on our website, so coactdetroit.org/activate-fund, and then go to the Earned Revenue Accelerator portion and just poke around and see if you can find some answers to your questions there. And then lastly, this is a collaborative effort. We can't do anything without our partners. So we want to thank the folks on this screen for all their input. New Michigan Community Resources, Michigan Nonprofit Association, University of Michigan School of Social Work, the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, TechTown, OU, Advancing Macomb, 313 Creative, Gingras Global, thanks Jason, and Early Works, and of course the COAC team. And now, thank you, and we will open it up for questions. So you can drop any questions that you might have in the chat. Also, if there's a raise your hand feature, you can click on that. I'm not sure that that is active though.
I don't think the raise the hand is open, but can I raise my hand?
Yes, you can. Go ahead, Jeanette.
I was gonna type and then I was like, just really quick. So thanks so much for doing this, you guys, and I love obviously everything you do at COACT. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess my question would be, and I'm happy to talk one-on-one too, but we have a long history. We've been doing earned revenue for 15 years and have quite, in non-COVID times, have quite a bit of earned revenue. So would you think this would make sense for us? Would most likely do a new product, right? Like our virtual tours, which we've been doing because of COVID, which is now a whole new product and will continue even when we get people back on buses or whatever. So I guess I just would love your thoughts if it's meant for people who are just starting in the earned revenue realm, or if an organization like ours who has had a lot of experience with it already would be a good fit.
Yeah, so it's not at all for people that are just starting out on the earned revenue journey. I'm just clicking back. The only eligibility criteria thing to consider is because I know you just said you were thinking about something new. Oops, I went too far back.
Well, it's been 6 months. We started virtual tours in May, so that we've brought in revenue for 6 months on that product. But that would be what I guess I would just have to be thinking. But we wouldn't want to do it for an existing long time product, right? I mean, that's not the idea for it.
I think that that would be up to you. But if you do want to have go forward with the one that you've been doing for 6 months, the newer one, that's fine if that's the product you want to bring forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just add, I think it could be either also, Jeanette, and Lauren mentioned the office hours, but we will have some availability posted by the end of the week where you could come talk to us one-on-one more. And I'd actually say, Jason, if you wanted to add anything, so I think was mentioned that Gingras will be facilitating the curriculum for the program. We'll have other, sort of experts come in on certain topics, but yeah, Jason, if I just didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add based on how the curriculum is structured.
There's not really, but if there's a question or something that we want to run through our team, which is on top of the curriculum, I'd be happy to pass that along, or I can follow up on this particular one.
Thank you.
It looks like there's some questions in the chat, Lauren.
Okay.
Do you want me to read them?
Yes, please.
So from Lisa, will any of the classes or office hours switch to on-site if COVID restrictions are lifted?
I think at this point, no, but I don't know. Yeah, okay, no.
Yeah, everything, we're planning everything virtually right now. We're, out of an abundance of caution and safety for public health.
Is there another question, or was that the only one in the chat?
From Augusta, maybe you mentioned this, but who is leading the program? So COACT it's COACT's program. Gingras is a partner of the program that will be facilitating the curriculum classes, along with some other speakers as well.
Yeah, I mean, just to chime in again, what I was referencing are my colleagues, Rami and Natalie. I think it's Rami that will be facilitating the courses and leading the discussions that our team will be leading. So she's really like the content expert, but we'll also be facilitating the other sessions as well with the other experts that we're having come in.
Again, I have a question if it's okay. I'm trying to raise my hand from here. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
This is Dr. Johnson. I am the executive director for the Malcolm Madison Foundation. I assist youth and young adults with identifying, growing, and developing their career passions through STEM. And historically, we've been a donation organization because our product and or service, if you would, is quite unique. The end result is to have a fully functional state-of-the-art science, chemistry, research and development lab that will provide services outside of the after-school programming, and then through the relationships of some of those entities that are in STEM to grant and supply their science and technology back to the young people as we provide services that eventually young people can actually run some of those exciting experiments and evaluations. But because of COVID and quite a few other things that have made this thing quite slow in getting things off the ground, because of the uniqueness of the type of product and or service, we're hoping to use this to make a leap into more of a revenue, earned revenue type of generator. And I wondered, does that discount us, or we're not allowed to participate because of that weirdness, if you would? We are a 501c3. We've been around for the last 3 years, and we've been active in programming, but it had been because of what we're trying to build based on piloting. It has been donation driven. So is that something that we still could qualify for, or no?
So just to clarify, you're not selling your product.
Well, the game plan it is too, but because of the uniqueness of the, uh, it's a lot of things in order to build and create an entity that is developing a capacity in young people, and you're delivering a product to the public, but it has to go through cycles of development.
Right.
Outside of having the monies, I mean, a lab, for example, you're trying to also got to have a facility, right? And because of the facility must house the type of state-of-the-art equipment that would provide both clinical and R&D type of support. Well, I was working out of our basement that eventually over time it outgrew. And then of course, because of liability, you can't have too many young people in your basement. So you now move to a whole new level and you're showcasing that you have the ability to deliver a service or product. So we're at a growth piece and also a show and tell piece at the same time. So it's a little bit different than just selling widgets or selling or providing a service when it's on the laboratory side. What drove this, of course, COVID is a great example. You have people of color communities being highly affected, but very few people of color are participating in the resource or the outcome of the product. Well, we want to introduce youth and young adults to that opportunity so they can actually grow and learn. And oh, by the way, we're going to provide services that will allow them to um, provide a service or a product, if you would, whatever that may be. We have to, of course, balance that against state and federal guidelines. So it's a little unique, a little different, but it's STEM driven, right? So it's not like the average widget.
Gotcha. I would recommend maybe emailing the Activate info email that's at the end of this presentation, and we
Okay.
can kind of set up a time to talk about it more, a little bit more.
Okay.
And I will go back to that slide. Tyler, it looked like you were going to say something.
I'll just say thank you.
Yep, and Laura, no, we were thinking the same thing, that, you know, a direct email or the when the office hours registration is up, you know, we could discuss the situation one-on-one.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Is there anything else in the chat, or does anyone else have any burning questions? Trying to go through the photos of you all at the top.
Okay, one more quick question since I'm filling out the thing right now. But you know, having the target audience selected, is that something that, I mean, that'd be one, and depending on the product, we might have it selected, but it'd be something I'd be interested, like as part of a business plan, I would feel like we would explore that, you know, do I have the right one, I guess is what I would want, you know, would be one of the things that I would be interested in, you know, touching base on during this accelerator. So I guess with that, like, you have to have it already in the bag, because that's what it kind of makes it sound like.
No, not at all. I think you're right on target with that. It is something that is going to be explored in that curriculum that we showed earlier, but for the purposes of the application, to just choose the one that you have right now or the one that you think is the best fit is how I would move forward.
Great.
And Jason or Kyla, please jump in. Okay.
I agree.
Yay, thumbs up.
Hi, this is Kenzie. I just got one quick question in reference for if we were selected for the program. Is it 3 hours, 1 hour per day, or 3 days a week, the 12 sessions?
No.
Or is it each session 3 hours?
Each session is 3 hours, correct.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And I would just add that, you know, if thinking about the timeline, as soon as we have all of our speakers confirmed, we'll be preparing a syllabus, and can we'll share the dates and times well ahead of time as well, so that folks can plan. In fact, we can even probably post share that with the folks who have applied, so that if you are selected, you have that space held on your calendar.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions that come to mind? Otherwise, I'll take it as we did a really good job with this presentation.
Well, you did a great job. Thank you.
And thank you. I'm seeing thumbs up and claps. And nothing in the chat, Kyla?
No, I don't see anything else. I think we are all caught up with the questions that have been asked so far.
Okay, well, let me just thank you all for spending your evening with us. We're glad that we were able to answer some of the questions that you have. I just want to remind you that all of this information will be on the website. So if you go to coactdetroit.org/activate-fund, you'll be able to find all of the information. So that includes the PowerPoint. It will include the office hours, the schedule for that. It will include, obviously, the link to the application. Also, there's an application video that will be up on the website as well. So that will just kind of have some more answers that you might have, or questions to answers that you might have. And if there's anything else or nothing else, I think that's it for this evening.